This development came as a shock even to the most experienced analysts. India, a country Washington had only recently viewed as a strategic partner and a counterbalance to China in Asia, is now making a sharp turn. And this turn is not neutral. It is aimed directly against the United States. Donald Trump, confident that dramatically raising tariffs would pressure New Delhi into following Washington's rules, appears to have underestimated how much the balance of power has shifted, both in Asia and the global economy. The first warning signs surfaced in reports from the Economic Times of India and the British Financial Times, both citing senior officials and business insiders. According to these reports, New Delhi is considering freezing major projects by American corporations. At the top of the list sits Apple, the ultimate symbol of US technological strength. For Washington, this is a serious blow. In recent years, India had become Apple's main hub for shifting production away from China. It's worth recalling how this strategy began. After decades of close cooperation with China's Foxconn factories, Apple faced growing risks: US-China tensions, trade wars, sanctions, rising nationalism, and strict tech regulations. All of this made Beijing an unreliable partner for a $3 trillion company. So Apple began searching for alternatives and found one in India. The logic was compelling. First, India is one of the world's largest and fastest growing smartphone markets, home to more than 1.4 billion people, with hundreds of millions entering the premium consumer class. Second, the Indian government offered generous tax breaks and subsidies to foreign investors. And third, Washington saw New Delhi as an ally to counterbalance China. Apple's expansion into India created tens of thousands of jobs, attracted billions in investment, and reinforced US influence in the region. But now this entire strategy could collapse. According to Bloomberg, sources within India's Ministry of Commerce reveal that New Delhi is weighing not only stopping new Apple factories, but also freezing production lines already under construction. This is explosive news. India is openly threatening to choke one of the world's most profitable corporations, and doing so as direct retaliation against Trump's tariff policies. Trump went all in. His new order imposed additional tariffs on a broad range of Indian goods, from textiles to pharmaceuticals, with the official justification of protecting American jobs. But in India, this was seen as a humiliation. The Hindustan Times, citing sources close to the government, reported, "Washington has underestimated how much India has changed. If before the country had no choice but to listen to the US, today it has its own levers of pressure. And those levers are not only economic. Behind India now stands China, arguably Washington's worst-case scenario. Just yesterday, Trump was promising voters that he could play New Delhi against Beijing, exploiting their historic rivalry. But the reality is shifting. According to the South China Morning Post, Chinese and Indian delegations have already held multiple closed-door meetings in Dubai and Jakarta. They discussed joint energy projects, settling trade in their national currencies, and even coordinating positions for the upcoming BRICS summit. If confirmed, this would mean Washington risks losing far more than just a market. Losing India means losing the counterweight to China that US strategy had relied on, a potential strategic catastrophe. Western media outlets are calling it a geopolitical earthquake. The Guardian writes, "Trump is driving India straight into China's arms with his own hands." Foreign Affairs was even blunter. Washington underestimated India's rise. The country is no longer a junior partner, but an increasingly independent power center. For Apple, this is especially alarming. According to Counterpoint Research, nearly 1/4 of all iPhones worldwide were projected to be assembled in India by 2027. Already, the iPhone 12, 13, and 14 are produced there, with future flagships planned as well. Foxconn, Pegatron, and Wistron factories in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka are operating at full capacity. Billions have been invested, contracts signed, tens of thousands of workers hired, and now all of this could be frozen. The implications stretch beyond Apple. New Delhi's move could shake the US economy itself. To the global audience, the picture would be unmistakable. The world's largest democracy, once seen as America's ally, openly confronting Washington. The White House, according to Reuters, is urgently preparing countermeasures. Options on the table include restricting Indian IT companies' access to the US market and tightening visa privileges for Indian tech specialists. Yet such steps would inevitably backfire, since Indian engineers are vital to Silicon Valley's backbone, powering innovation at Google, Microsoft, and countless startups. Meanwhile, India's statements are growing more assertive. The emerging picture is striking. A country once positioned as Washington's partner against Beijing is now stepping forward as an independent power, ready to challenge the US itself. If this realignment truly unfolds, the consequences could be massive. Apple could face crisis, US stock markets could take a hit, and the global political order could be reshaped. As analysts in Germany's Handelsblatt observed, Trump may find that his own policies are dismantling the very strategy that American presidents spent decades building. In Asia, the US may soon find itself relying only on Japan and South Korea, while India, once expected to help contain China, could instead begin cooperating with it. That would mark Trump's greatest foreign policy defeat. Losing India would mean losing influence in the very region where the 21st century's balance of power will be decided. But what's even more concerning is the deeper shift taking place. For the first time, India is demonstrating that it is ready to use its growing economic power not just for domestic development, but also as a tool of foreign policy leverage. This fundamentally changes the rules of the game, and it is happening just as India prepares to host the BRICS+ summit. According to reports in the Financial Express, the summit may include an official announcement of new settlement systems in rupees and yuan for major energy deals. For Trump, such a move would be a major shock. For decades, the US dollar has been Washington's most powerful instrument of influence. But if India and China press forward with this plan, the dollar could lose part of its unique status, weakening one of America's main levers of pressure. Ironically, it is Washington itself that is pushing New Delhi closer to the very forces it aims to contain. Trump's tariff strategy was intended to punish India, yet it handed Indian leaders something far more valuable, a political argument they had lacked for decades. The message is clear: we are strong, we are independent, and we can say no to the United States. This sentiment has not only been embraced by India's political elite, but has also become a source of national pride. Now, analysts are asking whether America is repeating the same mistake it once made with China. Back then, Washington believed that integrating Beijing into global trade would ensure its compliance. Instead, China emerged as America's primary rival. Today, the same dynamic may be unfolding with India. A country long treated as an ally is now positioning itself as an independent global power. And perhaps this will define the Trump era, a world where the United States not only risks losing friends, but also its ability to dictate the rules of the international order. Please subscribe to the Timeful channel and don't forget to like.